Sexy ass title. This title is sexy. So fights and stories are the same thing, and it's a video by Almost Cheesecake. And, you know, we saw Yuta in the thumbnail, essentially. So, I mean, the title's pretty self-explanatory. Jujutsu Kaisen tells its stories through fights, you know?
Okie dokie. JJK Season 3 completed. Animation 10 out of 10. Story 0 out of 10. Overall 5 out of 10. Fights 10 out of 10. Story.
How are we gonna say stories 0 out of 10, bro? Okay, I'll admit the Culling games didn't focus on story as much as, you know, Shibuya or even Season 1 with the versus Mahito arc or Hidden Inventory, but JJK's story isn't ass though. Like, what are we talking about? 0 out of 10?
2 out of 10. Fights.
Who are these people rating it? Who are these people?
10 out of 10. Story 2 out of 10.
Like, what? Fights 10 out of 10, story 2 out of 10? What is this? Perfect example of fast food anime? Are you kidding me?
10.
Bro, the last 4 characters introduced perfectly showcase why this anime will never stick with me beyond cool fights. Surface level characters that exist solely for hype. Did you not watch Higuruma's backstory? Did you not literally see Higuruma change his ideology due to Yuji? Yuji was the one person who was honest and didn't lie. And then Higuruma chose not to use the executioner sword on Yuji, bro. Did you just skip past that episode? Did you just skip past Maki versus the Zenin clan, the misogyny, and just the overall, you know, weirdness of Naoya Zenin? What are we talking about?
Fights 10 out of 10. Story 3 out of 10.
Yuji literally made a straight face and he confessed to the crime of, you know, mass murder in Shibuya, bro. And he didn't even do it. That was Sukuna.
Fights, story, animation, hype, aura, characters, diff, writing, fights, story, writing, fights, story.
Megumi versus Reggie was peak. But yeah, I mean, the title of this video is so obvious. The message, like, yeah, fights and story, it's literally a battle shonen. So obviously, you know, the story is going to be told through fights. I mean, it makes complete sense.
Writing, fights, story, writing. It's all a bloody same, isn't it? Higuruma is an antagonist from Season 3 of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Bro, who is saying JJK doesn't have a story, though? Like, I get it. Maybe the story isn't as good as, you know, My Hero Academia. Because My Hero Academia low-key felt like, you know, like the next version of Naruto. You know, 8 seasons, huge side cast. But JJK has some well-written characters, bro. We have Mahito. We still have like a decent story with Kenjaku planning the Culling games. Kenjaku literally took the White Flash from Jin Itadori just to birth Yuji, bro. That is peak plot, bro. And Kenjaku's sus for that.
If I had to describe him as quickly as possible, he is this jaded and apathetic lawyer turned sorcerer who is responsible for killing at least 20 people. He even has this ominous line, "Have you ever killed someone who ticked you?"
How y'all are gonna say, I don't want to conflate story with writing, but how are you guys gonna say like JJK's story is a 0 out of 10 when Higuruma literally starts off saying that, have you ever killed someone who ticks you off? It feels really good or whatever, right? And at the end of his fight with Yuji, he asks Yuji, have you ever killed anybody? And then he's like, and then Higuruma straight up says, it felt absolutely awful, right? So even that's like a huge contrast just between the start of the fight and the ending of the fight.
Off. It feels much better than I expected. You look at this guy sitting in a bathtub with his clothes on, and your first thought is probably, oh my god, he's so hot when he's wet. And then your second thought is, damn, there is something wrong with this guy. I wonder.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, being in a bathtub with clothes on kind of defeats the entire purpose, no?
How he ended up so jaded and apathetic. Well, back in the day, Higuruma was a defense attorney that took on really hard cases, not because he particularly wants to save people, but because he wishes to uphold justice, to not close his eyes in the face of—
But then Higuruma had to learn, I mean, you know how it works. The world is just controlled by, you know, higher elites and stuff, right? Higuruma realized he was simply a pawn. He was just a lawyer. He couldn't actually do much against these corrupt judges.
Of injustice. However, with these impossible cases in a society with an overwhelming amount of guilty verdicts, never looking away meant staring into the eyes of every person he had failed. Time after time, trial after trial, guilty verdict after guilty verdict. The negative emotions, the cursed energy just building up inside him over and over and over and over until Higuruma has broken down, closed his eyes, and given up on humanity. But that's enough of the boring 0 out of 10 backstory. Let's go back to the fights. Higuruma can summon a courtroom with his domain expansion, which forces his opponents into a trial.
Honestly, really overpowered domain, because again, if you get stuck inside of Higuruma's domain expansion, you cannot hurt him, right? There's no physical violence. I don't even think you could open a domain expansion. So like, if Gojo and Sukuna got, let's just say both of them somehow got caught up in Higuruma's domain expansion, Gojo and Sukuna couldn't just open their own domains because that would be an act of violence. So they're basically cooked.
Judgment, his Shikigami familiar, will accuse his opponent of a crime. Something like, "You stole someone's pen back in high school," or "Where were you on January 6, 2021? During this trial, Judgment will give one piece of evidence to Higuruma. You don't know what that evidence proves or disproves, you just have to decide whether to stay silent, confess, or deny. If you're pronounced innocent, yippee! You get released from the domain expansion. However, if you're pronounced guilty, Judgment will seal your curse technique, and you are basically forced to fight without superpowers. Good luck with that. So when Yuji asks for a retrial during their fight, Judgment accuses him of mass murder in Shibuya on October 31st, 2018. You know, the Shibuya incident.
You know, it's so weird. I get that Gojo said that Yuji will eventually take on Sukuna's cursed techniques just due to him being Sukuna's vessel, but like, why does Yuji just not have a cursed technique? Like, I feel like that's just so weird and odd to me. Like, he just never ended up getting his own actual cursed technique. Very strange.
When that one girl unzipped Nanami's pants, and I mean, when Sukuna turned Shibuya into...
You know what? Maybe Mahito was right. Maybe Itadori Yuji really is kind of a simple guy. Maybe he really is.
...to a crater, Yuji, overwhelmed by the guilt of letting Sukuna take over his body, confesses to the crime, and Judgment gives him the death penalty, granting Higuruma an executioner's sword that can kill anyone with just one cut. However, Higuruma is flabbergasted. Why?
Bro, Higuruma became a damn meme due to this face, bro. There's so many memes of him, man.
Well, the evidence that Higuruma received from Judgment revealed to him the existence of Sukuna, the one that took over Yuji and committed the mass murder. This jaded and apathetic man who has given up on humanity sees a young boy shoulder a crime he did not commit, and for the first time in a while, is forced to open his eyes again. In a world full of injustice, why did this boy confess to something he didn't do? Why did he admit guilt?
Outside of Higuruma's vast intelligence, he's probably like the second most relatable character after Nanami, honestly. Like, a lot of people say Nanami is very realistic and relatable, you know, just due to his work life, stress, life in general. But right after Nanami, it's gotta be Higuruma, honestly. I'll give like maybe honorable mentions to like Yuji, Megumi, and maybe even Junpei, you know, just with teenagers and stuff.
Knowing that it would put him at a disadvantage in this fight. Why is Higuruma lost in the darkness of his own mind, now being blinded by this shining individual standing before him. Higuruma deactivates the executioner's sword, gets taken down by Yuji, and decides to help him.
Bro, this impact frame, bro, it lasted like 5 seconds. Poor Higuruma, man. I feel bad for him.
Having once again opened his eyes and decided to stare into the
I know that punch hurt.
abyss of justice. He asks again, have you ever killed someone of your own volition? Yuji answers, I have.
And no, it's not sus for Yuji to say yes. Some people were questioning. I've even seen YouTube reactors questioning, wait, why did he say yes? Or like, who has Yuji killed? Yuji has technically killed that guy from like Yuji and Nobara in season 1 in like episode maybe 23 when Megumi kind of used his domain expansion. Yuji fought the guy and his brother Echizu and Eso and Echizu, the guy with the blood wing manipulation, and you know, he didn't want Yuji to look at his back and all that weird stuff. And that's just one example. I'm pretty sure Yuji might have also said yes because he's like technically killed, you know, the curses that Mahito launches at him, like the transfigured humans. So maybe that could also count, but I think Yuji mainly said yes due to, you know, Echizu, the Wing King guy with the blood guy or whatever. Yeah.
In which Higuruma responds,
and he literally reflected after the fight. He was literally talking to Nobara, and he was like, people cried, people suffered because of the lives I ended today. Because remember, you know, the Wing King guy, he cried when his brother got killed by Nobara. This happened in like season 1, maybe episode 23, I believe.
It felt absolutely awful, didn't it? We have just seen a character arc happen right before our eyes. Higuruma had lost faith in humanity due to his time as a lawyer, closing his eyes to injustice and allowing himself to be swallowed up by his own sorrow.
We've only seen Higuruma for like 2 episodes, and getting a backstory on him is nice, but it's still crazy how he's only been in the series for 2 episodes, and he's almost better written than Nanami. Just almost. I guess you could argue he is better written than Nanami, but I don't want to glaze too much. I think Nanami is fairly relatable, and also we did see his little backstory with the woman who was from that bakery, and just, you know, him going through his work life and chasing money. And also just his relationship to Yuji as a mentor was pretty nice.
Only after meeting Yuji, someone who is also overwhelmed by sorrow, but still pushing forward despite it, did Higuruma start to open his eyes again and realize how much he had strayed from his original ideals. An entire story told during a fight that is 10 out of 10, but with a 0 out of 10 story. Maki Zenin has been abused and mistreated her whole life due to the fact that she is
yeah, this episode for me was honestly like either second or third best. I feel like for me personally, I really just liked Yuji versus Higuruma the most this season. I actually have Megumi versus Reggie a little bit lower. Like, it was a cool fight, but I don't care about Megumi that much. I think for me, I would rank it like Yuji versus Higuruma, because I loved the writing, bro, and just the symbolism, everything. It was so beautiful, just Higuruma forgiving Yuji, Higuruma finally changing his ideology of everybody being ugly and weak and evil and humans are evil or whatever. Second, I gotta go with Yuta versus Sendai Colony. Then right after I have Maki versus the Zenin clan. She basically became, you know, kind of like the second coming of Itachi, bro. Yeah. Well, bro, some people were trying to slander Maki and say that, oh, Maki's evil or whatever, and Itachi did it for a good reason. But, like, no, the Zenin clan, who cares about them? And then fourth, I would finally say Megumi versus Reggie.
Female and 2. A non-sorcerer, unable to use cursed energy like her peers. So after her twin sister Mai sacrifices herself...
Bro, the irony is so insane because the Zenin clan's like misogynistic or sexist, whatever you want to call it. And then they're also just like, they're like quote unquote racist against like non-sorcerers, but like Toji and Maki could literally solo the entire Zenin clan. It's pretty ironic, man. Again, Maki did it on her own, bro. It's just like, I don't know, bro. Naoya's kind of stupid in particular, bro, because it's like Naoya literally made fun of Maki, but Maki like mid-diffs you, Naoya. Come on.
To grant Maki a new body, she proceeds to obliterate the Zenin clan. What a girl boss. And through this fight, we get to see how much Maki was looked down upon by her entire family. When she was first defeated by her father Ogi, who was planning to kill his 2 children.
This dude's the worst father in like, okay, I can't say the worst father in all of Shonen because that guy from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood who merged a dog with his, I don't remember his name because I haven't actually really watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but I know there's some evil dad who merged like a dog with his daughter in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and I've seen the memes. I don't remember the old man's name who actually did that, but Ogi Zenin is the second worst father in all of Shonen. Sho Tucker is the worst father in all of Shonen. Ogi Zenin is second, right behind Sho Tucker.
He monologues about the fact that while he was equal to his brother in strength and whatnot, the reason his brother was picked as the head of the family over him was because of how disappointing his offspring was, disparaging Maki for underestimating
the quality of my children. Such a crazy sentence in the first place, man.
Him just because she broke his blade. He plays on a different field to her. He can use cursed energy to cut without a blade. Trying to gauge me by the standards of such a failure is absolutely ridiculous.
Here's the thing. I get what Ogi was saying at first, like, but he didn't understand how heavenly restrictions actually work. I get why Ogi was under the impression, oh, you and Toji being physical monsters isn't really that important because, you know, us sorcerers can reinforce our bodies with cursed energy. But what Ogi doesn't understand is it's a trade. The reason Maki doesn't have cursed energy is because, well, she has a heavenly restriction, obviously, but it's a trade. So that means her physical abilities are like genuinely insane. It's 100 times any normal sorcerers, basically. Like it's not even funny. So yeah, Ogi underestimated the power of heavenly restriction, which is why this happened.
The leader of the Kukuru, the Zenin clan's army of small fry, after hearing of Maki killing Ogi, assumed that he was taken off guard, as if he was attacked in his sleep or on the toilet, underestimating Maki by telling his goons to...
Bro, I'm sorry, that's hilarious, man. They really thought Ogi was on the toilet or off guard? Bro. Nah, that's actually funny, but... Even then, if they even respect Ogi to any degree, wouldn't they be questioning, even if Ogi was on the toilet, how did Maki truly sneak up on him? Like, low-key, that's an Ogi downscale. How do you guys think that little of Ogi that just because he's using the bathroom, Maki's gonna speed blitz him or something? Come on.
Try and capture her alive so that he can take the glory of killing her. Junichi,
that's gotta hurt.
An elite Zenin sorcerer, after seeing Maki decimate everyone before him, decides to also underestimate her.
Bro, I felt bad for Junichi because I think the reason he was walking so slow is not that he was ore farming, but he already knew Maki was gonna kill him. Junichi knew that Maki was equal to Toji and that he was gonna die against Maki. So that's why he was just walking slow. He accepted it.
By walking slowly towards her, while Ranta is barely able to hold her down. Funny enough, this was changed.
Oh, not the speed meme.
Barely able to hold her.
Why you try not to let? Come on.
Down. Funny enough, this was changed from what happened in the manga, but it just paints an even funnier picture of a man still failing.
You know, literally, hold on. People were trying to say that Ronta was like, that he was a good boy, or that he was, you know, just like a good person, basically. And they were saying that he donated to charity. And people made up this fake panel of Gege Akutami, you know, saying that Ronta was actually a good person. He donates to charity in his free time. That was all fake. Jujutsu Kaisen lobotomy fans made all that up just to slander Maki. They made it up.
But it just paints an even funnier picture of a man still failing to see the threat that Maki had become and just deciding to aura farm for no reason. Naoya, the world's most popular misogynist, refuses to acknowledge that Maki is now on Toji's level, one of the most powerful combatants that once—
Bro, what? Why does Jujutsu Kaisen have so many like memes, bro? Like, what is up with the meme potential? Naoya is the world's most popular misogynist. Naoya holding his hair back while attacking Choso with one hand. The slandering of every character, just, oh my god.
took down Satoru Gojo, declaring that only he deserved to stand among the two great.
And then, bro, even Naoya being cringy and like obsessing over Toji in Gojo, just glazing Gojo and Toji, like, come on, bro.
Only to be, just like everyone else, defeated by Maki, and later on, stabbed by a—
Bro, Naoya got cooked, because when Maki punched him, they literally showed like the bone breaking frame, bro. They literally showed Naoya's bones breaking. It's kind of similar to what Jotaro did to Dio. I remember at the end of Stardust Crusaders and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Jotaro landed like some type of punch with Star Platinum on Dio's skull, and they literally zoomed into like those bone impact frames, bro. Cooked.
woman in the back. Some poetic irony.
And then the conclusion was beautiful. Yes, poetic irony for sure, bro. Now you started out, oh, if a woman can't follow a man, she deserves to be stabbed in the back. And then, I mean, that happened to you, bro. GG.
As Naoya had once said, a woman who can't walk 3 paces behind a man should be stabbed in the back. An entire clan of sexist, classist elites obliterated overnight because they cannot fathom that the idea of a female, a non-sorcerer, could ever harm them, let alone defeat them. Once again, a story of years of prejudice.
It's so stupid. Didn't even because I feel like didn't Naobito Zenin, like who used to be the leader of the clan, I'm pretty sure Naobito knew that Toji could have wiped them all out. Like, I think Naobito knew. Because Naobito, like, he's obviously, I think he's the one person in the Zenin clan who isn't an idiot or who isn't misogynistic and, like, racist against heavenly restriction users or whatever, classist. So Naobito actually knew that Toji could have wiped them all out, like, honestly.
Abuse, all falling victim to their own hubris. Told
I love
jurors,
this.
all falling victim to their own hubris.
Bro, look at these bone impact frames, bro. It's so cold, man. It's so cold.
Told during a fight scene. A well-written fight tells a story. It does not make sense to separate the two, to rate the fight a 10 out of 10 and the story a 0 out of 10 when a battle shonen tells its story through the fight. Are you actually Ishiguro?
Yo, W valid crash out, man. Bro, but yeah, I mean, the stories and the fights, yeah, they're obviously blended in together. Literally mid-fight, Ryu Ishigori literally gives his whole backstory to Yuta. Like, Yuta just straight up pauses and he just listens to what this JoJo's character has to say, bro. Ryu really does look like a JoJo's character. Even his name, Jane Juliet or Ryu Ishigori, man. But, you know, Ryu's like, oh, I had a lot of scraps with a lot of tough guys. I even met a nice woman, but I was never satisfied. I need dessert, you know?
Is unfulfilled. 400 years ago, he lived a moderate life. He fought some tough guys, met a nice girl, and died without regrets.
I'm gonna be completely honest, Ryu is kind of like, he's kind of a piece of shit in a weird way. And let me explain. Ryu literally said himself that people are always asking you, what's your problem, or what's the issue with you? And honestly, I would be one of those people. He literally settled down with a nice woman. He still got to, you know, be a man or whatever and fight against other tough men or sorcerers or whatever. And, you know, he settled down. Like, what are you complaining about? Like, you don't need to be 100% fulfilled, man. Like, come on, bro. It's just like, I completely get why people would say Ryu is kind of like, I guess, spoiled, bro. Like, what are you hungry for, really?
Or so you would believe. Ishigori was hungry. Ishigori was unsatisfied.
Like, bro, I'm not even trying to necessarily downplay it. Okay, maybe I am, because, like, Ryu's life was not bad whatsoever. We literally have Takako Uro, who literally was, like, you know, just a worker, a servant for the Fujiwara clan her entire life. And now she actually tries to get to experience life through, you know, the Culling Games in Kenjaku, incarnating sorcerers, bro. Ryu had it easy, bro. He literally met a woman. He basically had a girlfriend. Like, he had it so easy. Kuroshi, does Kuroshi even have a past life? I guess he was always under cursed spirit manipulation. Like, I feel more bad for Kuroshi. I feel more bad for a freaking cockroach than I do Ryu Ishigori, bro. And even Druve. Actually, I think Druve technically had a good life because he conquered, like, an entire archipelago. So he was probably living, like, you know, this kingly life.
Ishigori lived for the fight, and his lust for battle was unsatiated. Which brings us to today. It's honestly a pretty simple story. Ishigori wants to have an all-out fight with a strong opponent and meets Yuta. They're throwing hands, unleashing techniques, cursed energy blast versus cursed energy blast. He even starts to get disappointed seeing Yuta seemingly run out of cursed energy, likening it to seeing a high-end dessert shop with empty displays at the end of the day. He makes this comparison a lot, his past life being the main course and his current one, the dessert that he is passionately pursuing. He is hungry for a fight so...
Let's LARP.
Sweet, so decadent, one that can fill the hole inside him. Oh yeah, he's also one big dick joke. His cannon pompadour going flaccid whenever he...
Oh, Lord. He low-key is. Didn't, bro, Uro literally called him dick cheese, bro.
He
That's
shoots
sad.
out too much. His dialogue about how he had no idea there was even more after wringing everything out.
Hey, yo. Pause, bro.
The euphoric way he says, deserter, after discovering that...
Bro, yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is never running out of memes. The memes will last forever, bro. It's gonna be infinite.
Yuta could still keep going after climaxing with the freeway domain expansion they had with Uro. It's just so funny, but it works so well the way he seduces Yuta to go all out on him, who originally just wanted to shoot Yuta to go all funny, but it works so well the way he seduces Yuta to go...
I guess, bro. Oh, Lord, man.
All out on him, who originally just wanted...
Honestly, Yuta was really nice for doing that, though. For actually... I guess Yuta always knew that he was gonna win against Ishigori, which is why he went all out. Because if Yuta really thought he had a chance of losing against, you know, Jane Juliet, I think he would have just fired his beam first instead of waiting for, you know, Ryu to reach his maximum output.
Wanted to shoot prematurely. And
come on, bro, why phrase it like this? Please, man. Why are you phrasing it like this?
This is why the fight is so good. The opening, hitting once their cursed energy blasts clash, the absolute beatdown as they just start wailing on each other, technique after technique, tactic after tactic. Ishigori, after being
very good battle IQ. sending Ryu's beam into the sky and then figuring out when it's going to drop. Beautiful display of battle IQ by Yuta Okotsu.
Defeated by Yuta, smiles at him.
And then Ryu is finally full, bruh. He had his dessert.
Yuta smiles back, gives a friendly little wave.
You know what I wonder, though? Like, this is a little bit random, but I wonder if when... So there's this question of whether the festering life blade is a part of Kuroroshi's body or a part of his soul in some type of way. What I'm wondering is when Yuta Okotsu spews positive cursed energy into Kuroroshi's body, does the festering life sword also disappear? That's what I'm wondering. Does Yuta using reverse curse technique on Kuroroshi, does that also kill or destroy the festering life blade? If so, then yeah, I'm assuming it's part of his soul or cursed energy. But if not, then that means it really just is kind of a weapon that Yuta could have stolen. Like, again, I wanted Yuta to steal the festering life blade because that sword is overpowered, bro. That sword is strong. And brief spoiler alert, but honestly, it would have been funny if Yuta or Maki just fought against Sukuna in Shinjuku and they just somehow landed a hit with the festering life blade. Sukuna would be so confused just seeing random insects spawn out of his body. But what I'm wondering is, I'm wondering if the festering life blade could even pierce Sukuna's skin just due to him having 4 arms and being such so durable, having such a tough body. I don't even think the eggs would actually spawn inside his body, or I don't think the blade would cut him.
As if to say...
But if it was able to, it would just be a funny troll seeing the look on Sukuna's face, knowing that, after landing a festering life blade hit, bro. I really just wonder how Sukuna would respond to that. Maybe he really wouldn't care.
This entire fight was nothing but a little favor.
Honestly, I wish Sukuna got more trolled throughout the entire series. Like, even some people were questioning, spoiler alert, manga spoilers for JJK. Some people were questioning, why didn't Todo ask Sukuna, what kind of woman is your type?
And with that, Ishigori is finally full. This is a shonen battle. These are the stories Jujutsu Kaisen wants to tell. I don't really care if you don't like JJK, I have my own complaints about the series, but whenever I see someone rate the fight a 10 out of 10 and the story a 0 out of 10, then I just think you have failed to understand what makes that fight a 10 out of 10. It's not just the flashy colors, although animation definitely helps. A well-written fight tells a story.
Yeah.
And my god, did Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 have some amazing stories.
Yes, 100% agree. And again, if you really want a standout fight that has great story combined with it, go watch Season 3, Episode 8 and Episode 9 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Yuji versus Higuruma was peak. Again, the literal reason it's my favorite, that Yuji versus Higuruma was my favorite fight, even compared to freaking, Sendai Colony and Maki versus Enian Clan, Megumi and Reggie, is solely because the themes explored in the overarching narrative. Higuruma being unable to do anything against corrupt judges and a, Machiavellian corrupt society. It was just beautiful. Yeah. Season 3, Episode 9 was the best episode of JJK Season 3 for me. Sendai Colony is pretty close, though, because Sendai Colony was super cool. But yeah, end of the day, I'm always going to prefer writing over fights, and that just might kind of be a personal thing. Like I even kind of prefer Chainsaw Man a little bit over Jujutsu Kaisen. Narrative is just the most important thing in a story, at least for me. Yeah. But yeah, fights and story, yeah, they're basically the same, especially in a battle shonen.